welcome to another episode of Not Quite Right Guitars. My name is Chris, and today I'm going to be giving you a full review and demo of the Behringer Bass Brassmaster Fuzz pedal. I've been posting a couple videos of me just jamming and having a good time with it, and it certainly is a good time, let me tell you that. I've spent about a week with it now, and I've gotten somewhat acclimated with it, and this thing's is just a blast once you figure out how it works. And it's not complicated. It's just at first some of the controls, their labels are not very obvious what they do, but if you just flip in the book, which I didn't want to do at first, you find out how simple it is. So let's just go ahead and dive into it, and let's get into some of those controls. All right, real quick before we plug her in, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown. You have 3 knobs and 2 switches. The top knob is labeled brass volume, the middle is sensitivity, and the bottom is bass volume. Basically what you have is your bass volume is your dry signal coming in, how much of your clean signal you want to fade into it, and then your brass volume is how much of the distorted signal you want to fade in or out. And then your sensitivity is more or less your gain. I say more or less because it kind of behaves, it's not just more distortion that it adds to it, or more fuzz if you will. It's as you turn it all the way down, like it's not as readily, like it's less sensitive is what I mean to say. Where you have to, pick a little harder maybe, or it fades out a little quicker. You crank it up all the way, and it's just like a cacophony. It's really, really cool. But anyway, and then also we have our switches, which is brass 1 and 2 and harmonic 1 and 2. Brass 1 and 2 switches between 2 different distortions. One's a little bit more mid-range focus, and then 2's a little more bright. Harmonic, like I said, it changes kind of, it's the field of modulation really, but it's one of those things that trying to describe what these things do with words just doesn't make sense. So let's just go ahead and plug this in, and I'll be able to explain this a lot better. Alright, we got the Behringer Bass Brassmaster Fuzz hooked up to my PB Heritage VTX amp with my Epiphone Les Paul Special 2. Real quick, if you guys wouldn't mind, give me a like and subscribe, and then throw a comment down below. Let me know what you think, what you'd like to see, anything like that. Give me some ideas. I'm new at this, so I'm open to all suggestions. But at any rate, all right, let me give you some examples of what this looks like clean real quick before we go into it. And I'm just running into this pedal and into the amp. I didn't run any kind of other things with it, just so we can see what it's like on its own. This is my bridge pickup, which is an Alnico 5. My neck's an Alnico 2. These are both Amazon pickups, so nothing special, but I like them and they sound great in my opinion. Favorites, which I put this pickup in here upside down, all Peter Green and Adam Jones. I don't know if I wired it. I certainly didn't do any different wiring, but I don't know if it matters. I think it sounds cool either way. Position real quick, Alnico 2. Clean sound, and we're going to pause real quick because if you heard my dog barking, he needs to go out and pee, and we'll be right back. Alright, and we're back. Sorry about that. I know I've never seen anyone else take a bathroom break for their dog during a video, but that's why we're called Not Quite Right Guitar. We do things our own way around. By we, I mean me and these two noisemakers on the floor over here. Anywho, let's turn this pedal on and get into some distortion sounds. Right now I'm going to have the sensitivity around noon, the distortion or brass volume at noon, the bass or dry signal at noon, and we're going to go in distortion 1 or brass 1 and harmonic 1 and see how she sounds. And we're on my bridge pickup again. A little bright. I have my amp set a little bright normally. We're going to just pop that little bright switch off, and I think it's going to soften her up just a little bit. Pretty nice, and you're just kind of halfway settings. I like to take it and turn the sensitivity up a little bit, turn my brass volume or distortion volume up, and then turn some of my dry. The more you turn the dry signal off, the more kind of funky and weird sounding this thing can get. So let's just go ahead and roll it all the way out and see what it sounds like. Fuzz pedals, they're different than other distortion pedals and overdrives in my opinion, just because you can really, like, the more you mess with harmonics and bending notes and ghost notes and all these other things, you get just these really funky tones out of these things. Just because I don't know how they're wired, I'm not that smart, but I know there's some sort of black magic voodoo going on there, and it's really freaking cool. Let's go ahead and switch to the other distortion. I'm going to roll back some in the dry signal, just about right 11 o'clock. We'll keep the other settings as they are. Oh, something else I have noticed about this and other fuzz pedals. Sometimes it takes them a minute to like acclimate to your guitar, and they also definitely respond way differently to different guitars. Like, these are mid-range output humbuckers, but I've tried my Hondo that has like this really cheap quad bucker with, you know, big fat ceramic magnets, and it clocks out at about 18K, and this pedal's not a big fan of it. It makes some weird sounds, but not particularly good ones in my opinion. It definitely likes a little lower output than 18K, which I admit is very high. But these mid-range humbuckers, it really likes, and you can get some cool sounds. Unfortunately, my Stratocaster is in pieces right now, because I can't wait to get that put together and hear it through that to see what some good single coil sound like through it. Anyway, let's get back to this. I'm going to move to my middle humbucker switch for this. Go for both of them. like some kind of internal noise gate or something, because it will kind of cut off depending on how much sustain you have. I mean, this guitar sustain is pretty good, but once the signal starts to fade, you can hear it cut out like that. Let's switch back to the other distortion, the brass one, and then I'm going to switch to the harmonic 2. Man, I get lost in this thing. It's really cool. And it's got a lot of different, a lot of versatility because all the different switch, because you could switch them in different combinations. So like now we've got it on harmonic 2. Let's switch the distortion to distortion 2, and it's a little bit different, a little bit different EQ settings, if you would. Sensitivity, aka gain, not quite dime, but pretty close. Let's roll that back and just see. You don't exactly lose distortion per se. Like I said, this sensitivity knob, it's kind of a weird knob. It's gain, but it's also something else. Cuts off once you turn the sensitivity down. Like even let's if we roll up the dry signal, it's still it definitely cuts off. So it's got some kind of internal noise gate, but no big deal. It's not really what it's meant for. It's meant for fun. I have been having a blast with it, and I definitely at $69, it's worth getting and messing around with. And if you want some classic fuzz sounds, I don't know what the original one that they copied off of sounds like, but I know that this one sounds really cool, and I've been having a really good time with it. So I don't know what else to say, man, other than listen to this. Alright guys, I got a little off the rails there with the jam at the end, but you pick yourself up one of these little bad boys and you'll find out why. But so basically that's my thoughts and demo of this handy dandy little fuzz pedal here. I highly recommend it, especially the price point, 70 bucks. It's really versatile as far as fuzz tones. You know, it's not like versatile, but as far as fuzz tones, it's got a bunch of different ones in it, and it sounds really cool. And the more you mess with it and manipulate the strings, manipulate your instrument, it makes some really cool tones. So I hope this review was somewhat helpful to any of you guys. And again, if you don't mind liking and subscribing, I'd appreciate it. I'm not affiliated with anybody, so if you want to leave a comment, give me suggestions as to any things you want to see. Again, I appreciate it. My name's Chris, and this is Not Quite Right Guitars.